Alright, this is lesson number 4, and in this particular lesson I'm going to show you how to add and subtract real numbers that have the same signs. And also I'm going to do, on the second page of your homework, I'm going to do question number 29 with you. I think that one, of all of them there, that you may have a problem with. That one is the one that may give you some fit, so we'll work through that one. But we got a lot of little pieces of information to give you as we work through this. I've got two problems that are up here. I want to talk to you about them. I want to start with this one first. If I were to ask you, what is this thing that I'm pointing to there? I think some of you would either say it would be a minus, or it would be a negative. Let me zoom in on that real quick. Some people are going to say minus, and some people are going to say negative. And what you need to know is that you are all right. You're all correct. Some people see that as a minus, and they're correct, and some people see it as a minus or a negative, and they're correct. We say it's a minus when we speak this particular problem. So for example, if I had you speak that problem, you could say it as 4 minus 10. 4 minus 10. But if I ask you, what's the sign of this 10, you'd have to tell me the sign of that 10 is negative. So when you say the problem, it's 4 minus 10. But if I were to ask you, what is the sign of that 10, you would say it would be 4. It's a little weird. That's kind of how it works. If I did another one, let's do negative 6 plus 5 minus 4 minus 3. Okay, what is this guy? What is this guy? What is this guy? And what is this guy? Well, if I asked you to say it, these two would be minuses. So it would be negative 6. The leading one you always say is negative. You don't say minus 6. So it would be negative 6 plus 5 minus 4 minus 3. Minus 4 minus 3. But if I've asked you for the signs, then this would be negative, 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 and positive. All right, let's go back up to this one. Let's rewrite it, and let's work with it down here. I say it's 4 minus 10. That's why I say it. I say it's 4 minus 10. But if I ask you the sign of that 10, it's really a minus sign. What you need to know is this, that I can really rewrite that as 4 plus a negative 10. So there's actually two ways of saying this problem. I could say it is 4 minus 10, or I could say it's 4 plus a negative 10. You need to know that all subtraction problems can be rewritten as addition problems. If I were to rewrite this one up above as all addition, it would be negative 6 plus 5, that's already addition, plus negative 4 plus negative 3. You just kind of write the negative at the top. Okay, so far what have we done? I've asked you, what is this guy? And you said some people say it's a minus, some people it's a negative. Well, it's minus when we speak it. It's negative when I ask you the sign. Maybe I can say it that way. When I ask you the sign of that number. What happens when we have two negatives in a row? For now, I'm just going to tell you what we get, and then later on I'll tell you why it is that case later this year. But when we talk about two negatives in a row, that's simply just a positive. So two negatives, in this case, gives you a positive. So 4 plus 10. So if I were to write out negative 6 plus 10 minus a negative 4 plus 3 minus 5, here's how I would say it. Negative 6 plus 10 minus a negative 4 plus 3 minus 5. I can put these two together. And then I can say negative 6 plus 10 plus 4 plus 3 minus 5. All right, now with all of that in mind, here's what some of the problems are going to look like tonight. You're going to be given like negative 2 minus 5. You're going to be given something like 6 plus 3. You're going to be given something like negative 4 minus 10. But tonight, you will not be given something that looks like this. Negative 4 plus 8. What makes that last one different than the first two? What makes this guy different than all those? Well, look at what we got here. What's the sign of the 2? It's negative. What's the sign of the 5? It's negative. Notice both of them are negative. What's the sign of the 6? It's negative. What's the sign of the 3? I'm sorry, I said that wrong. What's the sign of the 6? It's positive. What's the sign of the 3? It's positive. Notice they're both the same. These were the same, and these were the same. What's the sign of the 4? Negative. What's the sign of the 10? Negative. They're both the same. In this case, they're both negative. In this case, they're both positive. But regardless, they're still the same, whether they're both positive or whether they're both negative. But look at this last one. What's the sign of this 4? It's negative. What's the sign of the 8? It's positive. So the signs are not the same in this case. In this case, they are different. We are not going to do those problems tonight. That's for another lesson down the road. Don't have to worry about that right now. We are only concerned about problems where the signs are all the same. Negative, negative, positive and positive, and negative and negative. When the signs are the same, you simply add the numbers together. That's what you do. 2 and 5, 7. 6 and 3, 9. 4 and 10, see if I can add them together right, is 4. And then you keep that sign in your answer. It stays in there. So since these are both negative, it stays negative. Since these are positive, it stays positive. Since these are minus, it stays minus. So the answer of negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. 6 plus 3 is 9. Negative 4, negative 10, negative 14. Let's do a couple more. Let's do like negative 14 plus negative 10. Negative 3 minus 7. 6 plus 4. What's the sign of the 10? The sign of the 10 is a minus. Keep that in mind. Don't let that fool you. So this is a negative. This is negative. So they're the same. You don't have to write that down. I am. And so we add those together. So 14 and 10 gives you 24. Keep that sign in your answer. If they were both positive, this would be positive. Negative and negative, they're the same. So it'd be negative 10. You keep the sign in their answer. 6 and 4 are both the same. That's 10. How about this one? How about 18 minus, make that 18, it looks like an 18. 18 minus negative 4. Remember, two negatives together, we need to rewrite as positive. So 18 plus 4, the signs are the same, so it becomes 22. So tonight you're basically be given a bunch of problems, a bunch of numbers, and you're going to add them together. All the signs are going to be the same, so you just add them together and keep that sign in your answer. You will not have to worry about them being different tonight. Alright, I told you and promised you that I would do, I think it was example number, I'm looking it up here, 29 from your homework. So here's one that will be similar to number 29 of your homework. So we'll say negative 3 minus, let's go 5 divided by, let's go 15 divided by 5, plus 3 minus 6. Let's see what happens. Remember, we're going to start inside the parentheses and stay in there until we end up with one number. So I have addition, I have division. I do division before I do addition. So I'm going to simply bring down the plus 3, bring down the braces, bring down the negative 3, the negative 15 divided by 3, I'm sorry, 15 divided by 5 is going to be 3. Okay, stay inside. So I get 3 plus 3. So bring down this 3, the negative 3, bring down this negative. There's the brace, there's the 6, and there's the minus 6. This together, I think this is where it's hard to remember. This is really a negative 6. You can kind of squeeze those together. And then check this out. Those signs are the same, so I add those together. So that becomes 9. Keep its sign. Bring down the negative 6. Those are the same sign, so it'll be negative and 15. And there's your answer. Good luck on lesson number 4.